There's trash everywhere. Mountains of waste stretch across the horizon, rusty towers tremble in the wind, and in the middle of it all stands a boy who seems far too alive for such a dead world. His name is Rudo, an impulsive young man with messy hair, a fierce gaze, and a strength that doesn't quite match his body. He lives in the lower world, a place where everything and everyone ends up once society decides they're no longer useful. But unlike the others, Rudo refuses to accept that fate. He dreams of reaching the upper world, a place said to be clean, bright, and fair. He has no family, or at least none he remembers. The only person he has is Regto, the old junk dealer who raised him since he was a kid. Regto isn't strong or wise, but he has something rare in this endless landfill: patience. While Rudo runs and shouts, Regto simply smiles and reminds him that even trash can have value. That phrase, almost poetic, is what keeps the boy going. In a world where everything you touch is broken, believing that something or someone is still worth something is almost an act of resistance. One day, while scavenging through piles of scrap, Rudo finds something strange, a metallic glove pulsing with a strange, living energy. He keeps it, unaware that this small decision will change everything. When he returns to the workshop, he's met with a scene he can't understand. The upper world police are there. They accuse him of a crime he didn't commit, the murder of Regto. Confused and enraged, Rudo attacks. He punches, yells, and fights with the desperation of someone who's lost everything. But his overwhelming strength only makes things worse. Several soldiers pin him down as the metallic glove glows on his arm, reacting to his pain. Before he can say a word, a cold voice announces his sentence. For your crimes, you will be sent to heaven. And with a single motion, they launch him upward, literally. A flash, a sudden fall in reverse, a void. When he opens his eyes, the junk and noise are gone, replaced by a vast, endless sky. But something's off. The air, the ground, even the feeling in his body, it all seems unreal. And then he understands. He wasn't sent to heaven. He was thrown into a place where the rules of the world are broken, a place where the discarded, like him, learn that not everything lost is truly dead. Rudo takes a step forward, still unsteady, as the glove on his arm emits a faint glow. Something is waiting for him. And the true weight of his story has just begun. Rudo wakes up sore, dizzy, and surrounded by a world that shouldn't exist. There's no real ground, no sky, just an endless void where everything floats, twisting slowly as if gravity forgot what to do. This is the heaven they sent him to, not a paradise, but a graveyard in the clouds, built from everything the world above threw away. At first, he thinks he's dead. The air feels heavy, his breath echoes strangely, and then, a voice hums inside his head. It's coming from the glove. That same strange relic he picked up in the junkyard is now fused to his arm, pulsing like it's alive. Rudo tries to rip it off, but the metal tightens, molding perfectly to his hand, as if it's chosen him. A faint glow spreads across his skin, followed by a rush of energy that feels both thrilling and terrifying. Out of the fog, a figure appears, a boy with messy hair, a gas mask, and the kind of grin that says he's seen too much. His name is Gene. Without hesitation, he tells Rudo the truth: this heaven isn't divine at all. It's where the unwanted end up, the fighters, the failures, the forgotten. A place for those who refuse to disappear. And Gene studies him carefully, amused by his confusion. What do you feel right now? He asks. Rudo clenches his fist. He feels anger, frustration, a need to break something, anything. And then, the glove answers for him. The ground shatters beneath his feet. A blast of pure force erupts from his arm, tearing through a tower of floating debris like it was paper. And Gene bursts out laughing, half impressed, half in awe. So, you're a giver, huh? The word hangs in the air. He explains that the glove isn't just a tool. It's a divine weapon remade from the god scraps, one that reacts to the soul of whoever wears it. And Rudo's soul, it seems, burns with endless rage. But before he can say more, a red light floods the sky. The air rumbles. Something massive descends from above, a giant shape wrapped in metal and fire. And Jean's voice drops to a whisper. "They've found you, the collectors." Rudo freezes, staring at the enormous shadow crashing down through the clouds. The glove on his arm begins to glow again, this time, not from fear, but from a power he no longer wants to hold back. The blast fades, and the air around Rudo vibrates with heat. Smoke twists through the air, carrying the scent of metal and ozone. The creature descending from the sky, the collector, lands with a sound that splits the ground. It's massive, armored like a living machine, with cables pulsing across its body as if it's breathing. Rudo can't look away. Every instinct tells him to run, but anger holds him in place. The glove on his arm hums again, faint at first, then stronger, responding to the chaos inside him. Jean, still grinning, stands beside him. "You really don't know what you're carrying, do you?" he says, tilting his head as if this whole moment is a show made just for him. Collectors hunt anything that still has divine energy. Which means, he points at Rudo's arm. They're here for that. Before Rudo can answer, the collector charges. The ground explodes beneath its steps. Rudo barely dodges, his feet scraping against the rough metal terrain. He's strong, stronger than he's ever been, but this thing is on a different level. He swings his fist, guided more by instinct than training, and the glove unleashes another burst of energy, wild and raw. It smashes into the collector's chest, sending debris flying like shrapnel. For a second, the monster stumbles. But it's not enough. It grabs him by the arm, metal fingers crushing like a vice. Sparks fly where their powers collide. Rudo screams, not in fear and rage. The ground gives way beneath them, collapsing into a pit of floating wreckage. And Jean watches from above, arms crossed, expression calm, but eyes sharp. "He's a mess, but he's got potential," he mutters, almost impressed. As Rudo struggles against the weight of the collector's grip, the glove begins to change. Its glow deepens, red and gold veins spreading across his arm like molten fire. The energy feels alive, dangerous, too much for a human body to handle. And then, for the first time, he hears it clearly, a voice inside the glove. Cold, commanding. "Do you want to live?" The question freezes him. Everything else, the pain, the noise, the world around him, fades into silence. Rudo hesitates for a breath, then clenches his teeth. "Yeah," he growls. "I do." The sky flashes white. The collector's body splits open with a roar that shakes the ruins. When the light fades, Rudo is standing alone amid a storm of falling metal and ash, panting, dazed, still alive. And Jean lands beside him, kicking a piece of debris away. "Well," he says, smiling faintly, "looks like you just passed your entrance exam." Rudo looks up, confused. And Jean points to a path of glowing symbols leading into the distance, a road built from fragments of the heavens. "Welcome," he says softly, "to the world of givers." Rudo follows his gaze, the faint hum of the glove still pulsing through his veins. The road ahead glows faintly, and somewhere far away, another voice answers the same call. Rudo walks through the strange, broken landscape of heaven, if you can even call it that. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and electricity, and everything around him seems to float, like fragments of a world that forgot how to stay together. His arm still throbs from the fight, the glove pulsing quietly, as if breathing along with him. And Jean leads the way ahead, hands in his pockets, moving with the ease of someone who's seen this all before. "Welcome to the real heaven," he says, glancing back with a grin that's half amusement, half warning. "You'll get used to the weirdness. Or you won't." Rudo doesn't answer. He's too busy trying to understand the voices that linger at the edge of hearing, whispers, echoes, like the wind is remembering things that people forgot. As they walk, they reach what looks like a settlement built out of wreckage, towers made of old machinery, ropes connecting floating platforms, people moving between them with calm precision. And Jean calls it the nest, a place where the givers live. They're not gods, and they're not normal humans. They're something in between, people who, like Rudo, have been gifted with weapons born from the scraps of divinity. Each one carries a different form, shaped by its user's soul. Some wield blades of light, others move metal with thought alone. Every giver, and Jean explains, is a reflection of what they were before they were thrown away. Rudo listens in silence. The faces here don't look like villains. They look tired. People who've seen too much and decided to keep going anyway. Inside the nest's central chamber, Ruto meets a woman named Zenka, the leader of the givers. Her presence is quiet, steady, like a flame that doesn't flicker. She studies him for a long moment, her eyes sharp but kind. "You survived your first collector," she says. "That means your glove chose you." Ruto nods, still unsure if that's a blessing or a curse. Zenka tells him what the collectors really are: machines from the upper world, designed to erase any trace of divine power that escapes their control. Every giver they find, they hunt down. It's not about justice. It's about keeping the balance of power and keeping the trash in its place. The words hit Rudo harder than he expects. That word, trash, it's followed him all his life. And now, even here, in the place where the discarded are supposed to start over, it still defines him. And Jean claps him on the shoulder with a grin. "Don't look so grim. You've got the potential to shake this whole place apart." Zenka doesn't smile. "Potential can be dangerous," she says softly, "especially when it doesn't know what it wants." For a moment, the room is silent, until the ground beneath them trembles. A sound echoes from above, deep and metallic, like thunder trapped inside steel. The air vibrates. Zenka turns toward the sky, her expression sharpening. "They've found us." The givers rush to their positions. Rudo steps forward, the glove on his arm already glowing again, brighter than before. The light flickers in rhythm with his heartbeat, steady, alive, and ready. Above the floating towers, the clouds begin to split open. And through the light, new silhouettes descend. Not one collector this time, but an army. The sky is burning. Rudo stands among the givers as beams of light cut through the clouds, each one carrying a collector down from the upper world. The air hums with static and tension, like the entire heaven is holding its breath. Zenka gives no speeches. She just nods once, calm but fierce, and the givers move. Bridges of floating metal twist and shift, creating a battlefield in midair. Rudo can barely keep up with what's happening. The clash of divine energy, the sound of steel meeting light, the way everyone here fights not for glory, but to stay unerased. The first wave hits hard. Collectors crash into the platforms, their movements mechanical and terrifyingly precise. Rudo reacts on instinct, the glove on his arm glowing as he blocks a strike that could have split him in two. The impact sends a shockwave through his whole body. "Focus." And Jean's voice cuts through the chaos. He darts past him with impossible speed, kicking a collector off the edge. Your glove reacts to your intent, not your panic. Think, then swing. Ruto grits his teeth, tries to steady his breathing. The hum of the glove grows louder, matching his heartbeat. This time, when he moves, the power flows differently, smoother, clearer. His strike tears through the collector's chest, scattering fragments of light into the wind. But there's no time to celebrate. More of them descend. For every one that falls, another takes its place. Zenka fights at the center, her weapon a long staff wrapped in golden ribbons, moving like a flame that never dies. She's calm even in the storm, but her eyes dart toward Rudo often, as if measuring something beyond the battle itself. Between attacks, Jean appears beside him again, panting, a wild grin on his face. "You're getting the hang of it. Not bad for someone who just crash-landed here." Ruto doesn't answer. His mind keeps replaying Zenka's words about the collectors, the upper world, and the ones who control it all. He was thrown away by that same system, labeled as trash. Now he's fighting its soldiers with the very power they tried to bury. He looks up, the glove burning brighter. If this power came from their gods, he mutters, then I'll use it to break theirs. Before Engine can reply, the battlefield shifts. The sky itself twists, a massive portal opening above them, flooding everything with white light. The collectors stop moving, as if answering a silent command. And from within that light, something descends. Larger than the others. Older. Its armor is engraved with runes that pulse like veins. The ground trembles as it lands, and even Zanka takes a step back. That's no ordinary collector, she says quietly. That's their enforcer. The creature raises its weapon, a spear glowing like molten glass, and the air distorts around it. One strike could tear heaven apart. Rudo feels the pulse in his arm again, stronger, wilder, almost alive. The glove is whispering, calling him to move. He steps forward, slowly, eyes locked on the towering figure above. Around him, the givers brace themselves. Above them, the enforcer lowers its spear. And in that still, breathless second before impact, everything glows red. The world burns in silence for a second before sound returns, a deep, thunderous echo that rattles through the air. The enforcer's spear hits the ground, splitting the platform beneath Rudo's feet. The shockwave sends him flying, but the glove reacts before he does, anchoring his body with a surge of golden light. The battlefield looks like chaos frozen in motion, givers scattered, metal debris spinning through the air, and that monstrous figure standing untouched in the center of it all. Its armor shifts like molten glass, and its face, hidden behind layers of steel, reflects nothing human. Rudo wipes the blood from his lip and stares up at it. Every part of him screams to attack, but Zanka's voice cuts through the storm. Wait. Watch how it moves. Her tone is steady, almost too calm for the end of the world. The enforcer swings its spear again, faster this time, slicing through the air like lightning. Zanka intercepts it with her staff, the clash creating a ripple that bends the air itself. She's holding it back, but barely. Rudo, she calls out, your glove, it reacts to will, not strength. Stop fighting it. Let it move with you. He doesn't understand completely, but he listens. He closes his eyes for a heartbeat, feeling the hum of the glove crawl up his arm and into his chest. It's not a tool. It's something alive, a something listening. When he opens his eyes again, the glow has changed. Brighter. Warmer. Controlled. He charges. The glove ignites in red light, its energy carving through the air as he swings. The enforcer blocks, but the force sends cracks running through its weapon. Sparks scatter like stars. Engine whistles from the sidelines. Guess the rookie's learning fast. But the enforcer doesn't fall. Its armor peels open, revealing a swirling core of energy inside, something ancient, something angry. The light flares, and suddenly the battlefield feels smaller, suffocating. Zanka shouts for the givers to retreat, but Rudo stands his ground. If I let it live, he says, voice shaking but sure, they'll just send more. The enforcer lunges. Its spear pierces through the air, aimed straight for him, and this time, Rudo meets it head-on. The glove bursts into a shockwave of molten gold, twisting around the spear like a storm. The explosion blinds everything in sight. When the light fades, the enforcer is gone. The ground beneath Rudo is scorched, and the sky is filled with drifting shards of metal that glow like dying embers. He collapses to one knee, breathing hard, the glove dimming to a soft flicker. Zanka and Engine approach him carefully. You're alive, Engine says with a crooked smile. That's new. Rudo barely hears him. The glove is whispering again, quieter this time, almost like a heartbeat inside his palm. Zanka looks toward the horizon. This wasn't an ordinary attack, she says, her voice low. They weren't trying to destroy us. They were testing him. Rudo looks up, eyes narrowing. Above the fractured clouds, a faint light shines, not warm, not divine, but watching. The upper world knows he's alive now. And somewhere above, someone is smiling. The air between them crackles, charged with heat and tension. The rebuilders stand in a half-circle, their masked faces unreadable, weapons humming with stolen divine power. Rudo tightens his fist, feeling the glove's pulse echo in his bones, steady, deliberate, alive. And Jean moves first, always the troublemaker, stepping into the space between both sides. "Hey," he says casually, before anyone starts swinging again. "Maybe we talk? I just rebuilt this body, and I'm not in the mood to lose another arm." No one laughs. The leader of the rebuilders tilts his head. "You think this is a negotiation," he says, voice sharp. "The upper world sent that enforcer for a reason. You awaken something they fear, and we can't afford another disaster here." Zanka's eyes narrow, calm but firm. "You mean you can't control it?" Ruto doesn't fully understand what they're talking about. But every time he hears the word fear, every time someone looks at his glove like it's a bomb ready to go off, he feels that familiar anger twist inside him. "I didn't ask for this," he says quietly. "But if it's mine, I'll use it to stop them." The rebuilder's blade hums louder. "Then prove it." The first strike comes fast, too fast. Metal clashes against energy as the masked warriors rush forward. Rudo barely has time to move. His instincts take over. The glove expands, glowing crimson, blocking the attack in a burst of light. Sparks fly. The impact shakes the ground. And Jean joins in, weaving through the chaos with impossible grace, his movements more like a dance than a fight. "Guess we're skipping the introductions," he mutters. Zanka stays behind, hands raised, channeling waves of golden energy that spread like ripples through the battlefield, keeping the platforms from collapsing entirely. Her voice is calm, almost like a prayer. "Control it, Rudo. Don't let the glove decide for you." But the glove is already moving. Its light burns brighter, forming patterns across his arm, shifting like living fire. For a moment, Rudo feels himself slipping, his heartbeat sinking with something deeper, ancient. He sees flashes, brief images of another time. A figure wearing the same glove. A battle under a burning sky. A voice whispering, "Power without purpose destroys everything." When he blinks, the vision's gone. The rebuilders are scattered, the ground beneath him scorched and fractured. The leader is still standing, breathing hard but defiant. "Now I see," the man says, lowering his weapon slightly. "You're not one of us, but you're not one of them either." Before Ruto can respond, the sky above splits open again, a clean, perfect tear of light. This one isn't red like before, it's white, blinding, silent. Zanka looks up, her expression finally breaking. "No," she whispers. "That's not heaven's soldiers." Figures descend through the light, not collectors, not rebuilders. Something else entirely. Their bodies shimmer like glass, transparent but solid, and wherever they step, the air bends. And Jean whistles softly. "Great. New guests. And they don't look friendly." Rudo raises his arm again, the glove already responding, brighter and louder than ever before. The air hums, and for a moment, everything feels weightless. He doesn't know what's coming next, but whatever it is, it's not from this world. The air turns cold as the light fades. The newcomers stand in perfect formation, tall, silent figures made of shimmering crystal, each one glowing faintly from within. They don't speak. They don't breathe. But every movement feels deliberate, like they're not soldiers, but instruments following a single command. Rudo's first instinct is to fight. That's all he's known since he arrived here, survive first, question later. But something about these beings feels different. Their presence isn't violent, at least not yet. It's almost judging. Zanka's voice breaks the silence. "They're not from heaven," she murmurs. "They're from deeper, from the foundation of this place." And Jean tilts his head. "Great. So we've officially run out of normal problems." The crystal figures start moving, their steps soundless, their weapons forming from light itself. Each one holds something that looks like glass, but cuts through steel like air. The first blow comes fast, a clean arc of white light that misses Rudo by inches. He reacts instinctively, blocking with his glove. The impact sends a pulse through his arm, and for the first time, he hears a different voice inside it. Calm. Focused. Almost human. They're not enemies of flesh, it whispers. They're fragments, pieces of what's left of the gods. Rudo barely has time to process it before another strike hits. The energy ripples through the ground, cracking the floating platforms beneath them. Injin leaps onto a higher ledge, landing lightly. They move like memories, he says with a grin. Strong ones. Zanka, eyes sharp, channels golden light from her staff, creating a barrier around the group. They're testing us. Seeing if we can handle divine resonance. The words mean little to Rudo, but he feels the truth in his chest. The glove is resonating, humming with the same frequency as the attackers. Each time he blocks, it grows stronger, clearer, as if syncing with their rhythm. He decides to stop defending. He steps forward, fist glowing brighter than before, and meets one of them head-on. The collision doesn't explode, it shatters. The crystal figure breaks into fragments of light, scattering into the air like snow. But instead of disappearing, the shards swirl around Rudo's arm, sinking into the glove like water absorbed by sand. Zanka's eyes widen. You absorbed it. Rudo looks down. The engravings on his glove have changed again. More lines, more symbols, more of that quiet power threading through him. It feels heavy, but not wrong. Then the others stop fighting. Every crystal warrior turns toward him, motionless, and one by one, they kneel. Their lights fade, leaving only a single beam shining from the center of the sky. And Jean whistles. I don't know whether to clap or start running. Zanka doesn't answer. Her gaze is fixed on the light above, the one that now pulses in rhythm with Rudo's glove. You've awakened something that shouldn't exist, she says softly. Something even the upper world forgot. Rudo's arm trembles under the weight of that glow. He looks up at the sky, where the beam thickens, swirling like a vortex ready to open. And from its center, something begins to fall. Not a machine. Not a god. But a person. Someone wearing the same kind of glove. The light fades, and for a moment, everything is still. The air feels thick, like the world itself is waiting for something. Then, the figure lands slow, deliberate, and unnervingly calm. A human silhouette wrapped in white cloth, glowing faintly from within. On their right arm, a glove identical to Rudo's. Rudo freezes. Every muscle in his body tenses, but not from fear, from recognition. The energy coming from that glove feels the same as his, only steadier, colder, almost perfected. The stranger straightens up, dust swirling around their feet. You've woken it, they say softly, voice smooth but distant. The forgotten current. I didn't think anyone down here could. And Jean tilts his head, leaning closer with that usual grin of curiosity. Another giver, huh? Or something worse? Zanka doesn't move. Her staff glows faintly, but her expression is hard to read. Not a giver, she says quietly. A prototype. One of the first to ever bear a divine tool. Rudo looks at his own hand, the glove, the glow, the weight he's been carrying since the day he found it. He thought he was unique. A mistake. But now, standing in front of him is proof that this power existed long before him. The stranger's gaze fixes on him. Your weapon doesn't belong to you, they say. It belonged to a god once, and now it's calling to me. The air shifts. The sound around them vanishes, swallowed by the tension. The stranger steps forward, each movement controlled, graceful. If you can't master it, they continue, it will consume you. And when that happens, I'll be the one to end it. Rudo's pulse quickens. The glove responds, glowing brighter, almost defiant. He doesn't know whether it's protecting him or provoking him. Zanka steps between them, her voice calm but commanding. This isn't your battlefield. He's still learning. The stranger tilts their head. Then he should start. The ground trembles. In an instant, they vanish, no warning, no motion, just gone, and then reappear behind Rudo. The impact that follows is blinding. Rudo barely manages to block the strike, sparks exploding from the clash of twin gloves. The shockwave rips through the air, sending Engine and Zanka back a few steps. Engine laughs under his breath. Guest introductions are over. Rudo slides across the platform, catching his balance. He looks up, eyes sharp, breath heavy. "If you want this power," he says, voice low, "you'll have to take it." The prototype smiles, not kindly, but with quiet approval. "Good," they whisper. "That's exactly what I wanted to hear." They clash again. Fists collide, light bending around them. Every blow echoes with the sound of divine metal meeting itself, like two reflections fighting for the same image. And as their powers entwine, the sky above them begins to distort. The clouds twist, forming an enormous ring of light. Zanka's eyes widen. The resonance, it's merging them. Engine shades his eyes from the glare. So what happens when two divine cores sync? No one answers. The only sound is the hum of energy growing louder, sharper, until it drowns out everything else. At the center of it, Rudo's voice cuts through the noise, quiet but clear. "If this is what the gods left behind," he tightens his fist, "then I'll make it mine." And just as the light swallows the battlefield, the two gloves, ancient and new, ignite in unison. The sky splits apart in a storm of light and dust. For a few seconds, everything feels weightless, even sound seems to vanish. When it returns, it's the echo of two forces clashing like thunder. Rudo and the prototype stand in the center of it all, surrounded by the glow of their divine gloves, their power spilling into the broken air around them. Every strike feels heavier than the last. The prototype moves like water, precise, calm, unshakable, while Rudo fights like fire, wild and unrestrained. Neither one gives ground. Sparks of divine energy scatter across the floating platforms, painting the ruins in gold and crimson. Zanka watches from a distance, staff in hand, her expression unreadable. "The resonance is unstable," she murmurs. "If they keep going, the current will break through heaven's floor." Engine smirks, leaning against a fallen beam. "Then we'll just get a new floor." But even his tone carries a hint of worry. Rudo's breathing grows heavier. The glove pulses faster with each heartbeat, matching his rhythm, amplifying his rage. His thoughts blur, the fight, the heat, the sound, until all that remains is instinct. He lunges again, his fist colliding with the prototype's arm in a burst of golden light. The prototype doesn't move back this time. Instead, they catch his punch midair. Their grip tightens, their eyes glowing faintly beneath the hood. "You're strong," they say quietly. "But your power still belongs to something else." The words hit harder than any strike. Rudo growls, twisting free, the energy around him flaring brighter, raw, unstable, almost alive. "Then I'll change what it belongs to." The ground splits beneath them. Fractures of light spider across the battlefield, reaching up toward the clouds. For a heartbeat, everything seems to stop, and then the entire platform collapses. They fall. The air rushes past like a scream. The world above turns into a blur of white and gold, while below, the darkness of the lower layers yawns open like an endless pit. Rudo feels gravity twist, his glove dragging him downward as if it's pulling him toward something or someone. The prototype falls beside him, perfectly composed even in freefall. "You're still bound by the same rules," they say, voice calm amid the wind. "Until you find your purpose, the glove will never be yours." Rudo clenches his teeth. He doesn't know what purpose means anymore. Revenge? Survival? Something more? All he knows is that the world isn't done testing him. As they plummet, streaks of light appear in the dark, fragments of machinery, old temples, and pieces of forgotten cities suspended in the void. It's beautiful, in a broken sort of way. Then, below them, something starts to glow, faint at first, then bright enough to light up the entire abyss. And Jean's voice echoes distantly through Rudo's calm device, filled with disbelief. "Hey, kid, do you see that? That's—" But the words cut off as the light swells into a blinding flare. Rudo opens his eyes wide, realizing it's not just light, it's a gate. Massive, ancient, carved into the base of heaven itself, and pulsing with the same divine energy that runs through his arm. He braces himself, twisting midair as the ground rushes closer. The glove ignites one last time, flaring like a star. The prototype looks over, their voice almost lost in the wind. "If you survive this fall, you'll find what the gods buried." And then impact. The sound that follows shakes the sky. The world comes back in fragments. A heartbeat. The sound of falling debris. The taste of dust and metal in the air. Rudo opens his eyes to find himself lying in the ruins of something ancient, a vast chamber glowing faintly with pale blue light. The gate he fell through looms above him, cracked but still pulsing, like a wounded heart. The impact should have killed him. It didn't. The glove must have softened the fall, or maybe it decided he wasn't allowed to die yet. He sits up slowly, body aching, mind spinning. The prototype is nowhere in sight. Only silence, deep and strange, as if this place hasn't heard a voice in centuries. The floor beneath him isn't stone. It's metal, smooth, circular, engraved with symbols that move when he touches them. They shift like ripples in water, glowing faintly in response to his presence. Zanka's voice crackles faintly through the communicator. "Rudo? Can you hear me?" He exhales in relief. "Barely." "Good. You fell straight through heaven's base," she says. "You're in the foundation layer. No one's ever made it there alive." He looks around, eyes tracing the strange architecture, walls of glass and gold, mechanical vines climbing the pillars, and everywhere, fragments of old machines suspended midair like frozen thoughts. It's beautiful but heavy, sacred in a way that feels forgotten. As he walks, the glove starts to hum again, softly at first, then louder, more insistent. It's pulling him somewhere. He follows without thinking, every step echoing through the hollow space. Then he sees it. A massive statue carved into the far wall, a figure of a god, faceless and immense, holding a glove identical to his. Around its base, lines of energy flow outward like veins, spreading through the entire chamber. When he steps closer, the glove on his arm glows in response. The light connects, his energy and the statue's merging for a single moment. And in that instant, a voice floods his mind. Not the whisper he's heard before. This one is clear, resonant, old. "You bear what was left behind. The power of creation and of waste." Ruto freezes. The voice feels alive, not cruel, but distant, like a memory that refuses to fade. "Every giver inherits what the gods abandoned. But you," the tone shifts, almost curious. "You carry the original sin." Before he can respond, the ground trembles. Cracks spread across the statue's surface, light pouring out from within. The air thickens with divine energy, pressing against his chest. Up above, Engine's voice cuts through static. "Kid, whatever's happening down there, stop touching things." Ruto backs away, but it's too late. The statue's chest bursts open, releasing a surge of energy that knocks him off his feet. In the center of the chamber, something begins to form, a body, human-shaped, glowing faintly with the same golden hue as his glove. He watches, breath caught somewhere between awe and fear. It's not a god. Not entirely. More like an echo, a remnant, and as its eyes open, he feels the same energy burning inside him flare and answer. The figure speaks softly, its voice vibrating through the air. "You came seeking purpose, child of the discarded. Then let us see if you can bear the truth of your creation." The chamber's light shifts to red. The statue crumbles, and the echo of a god takes its first step toward him. Light. Endless, suffocating light. Rudo falls through it, weightless, spinning between flashes of memories that aren't his. Faces. Cities. Flames. The echo of gods arguing somewhere beyond the edge of sound. It's not falling, exactly. It's more like being pulled through time that's still trying to remember itself. When the light finally fades, he lands on solid ground. But the world around him doesn't look real. The sky is made of colorless glass, the ground smooth as water, and distant structures shimmer like reflections. He realizes he's not in the foundation anymore. He's inside the memory of it. The figure of light stands ahead, motionless. Its voice doesn't echo, it simply exists, vibrating through his bones. What you see is what remains of the gods' truth, it says. A world built from what they couldn't destroy. Rudo takes a step forward, his reflection rippling beneath him. You said I carry their sin, he says quietly. What does that mean? The figure turns slightly, its outline flickering. The gods created life to serve perfection, it replies. But perfection cannot grow. So they built tools, givers, to hold their failures. The air around them shifts, forming shapes out of light, scenes frozen in motion. A city in the clouds. Beings of gold and glass standing above humans. And below them, shadows, givers, cast aside once their purpose was done. Ruto watches in silence. He can see it now, the hierarchy, the arrogance, the cruelty buried under divine order. And somewhere in those shadows, someone like him. The figure continues. They feared what they built. The power to create, to change, to destroy without permission. So they sealed it away, layer by layer, until even the memory of it was forgotten. Rudo looks down at his arm. The glove pulses softly, reflecting the same golden glow that fills the vision. Then why me, he asks. Why give it to someone like me? The figure doesn't answer right away. When it finally speaks, its tone is almost human. Because the gods didn't give it to you, the world did. Every piece of waste, every discarded soul that refused to vanish, wove itself into that power. You are not a weapon, Rudo. You are a response. He doesn't know what to say. The words hang heavy, not comforting, not cruel, just true. Then the light begins to fracture. The reflection under his feet trembles. The figure looks up, almost amused. It seems they found you. Rudo's heart jumps. Who? The answer comes as a sound distant at first, then rising like a storm. The sharp whine of energy cutting through space. Cracks appear in the glass sky. Through them, shadows move, not collectors, not rebuilders, but something new. The figure steps back into the dissolving light. Your purpose isn't to understand them, it says softly. It's to decide what kind of god you'll become. The sky shatters. Shards of light rain down. Rudo raises his arm on instinct, the glove blazing to life, its glow swallowing everything around him. When his vision clears, he's back in the real world, the foundation burning, the chamber collapsing, and above him, shapes descending fast. Not angels. Not machines. Hunters. And they're coming straight for him. Don't forget to subscribe to watch the next part. I'll be waiting for you in the next video. See you.